Hi, welcome back to another video. So as you would have seen from the title and the thumbnail, today's video is going to be my 25 anticipated releases for 2025. First, let me showcase my Butter Bear shirt that I got in Bangkok. It's so cute, right? Oh my goodness, and it has a little bag. If you would have noticed from the title, I put part 1 because this video will only have 20 books because I want to leave 5 for the remaining half of the year because I could only find information on releases up until June 2025, and I'm not sure until which point I did for last year's video, but afterwards I realized that there were more releases coming out that I didn't know about before that I was also interested in. For example, Somewhere Beyond the Sea, which I'm reading right now, and so on and so forth. So yeah, this will be my part 1. For the later half of the year, I will leave 5 spots, which is very little, but oh well. And as such, this first 20 I was very strict on, in that there are obviously more releases than this, but I narrowed it down to 20 so that the other books that I'm still interested in reading them, but not as much to put on the list. So we'll go by chronological order, starting with January. The first book is Immortal by Sulin Tan, who wrote Daughter of the Moon Goddess, that duology. I haven't read the conclusion to that duology yet, Heart of the Sun Warrior, because it's very long. But yeah, I will get to that eventually. But this one is a standalone romantic fantasy filled with dangerous secrets, forbidden magic, and passion of a young ruler who fights to protect her kingdom. And the cover is stunning, just look at it. As the heir to Tianxia, Lian knows she must ascend the throne and renew her kingdom's pledge to serve the immortals who once protected them from a vicious enemy. But when she is poisoned, Lian's grandfather steals an enchanted lotus to save her life. Enraged at his betrayal, the immortal queen commands the powerful god of war to attack Tianxia. Upon her grandfather's death, Lian ascends a precarious throne, vowing to end her kingdom's obligation to the immortals. When she is summoned to the immortal realm, she seizes the opportunity to learn their secrets and to form a tenuous alliance to safeguard her people, all with the one she should fear and mistrust the most, the ruthless god of war. As they are drawn together, a treacherous attraction ignites between them, one she has to resist to not endanger all that she is fighting for. This is a mythology book. I'm not sure what the mythology is based on, like it's a retelling. I don't know, so I will need your help to let me know. So this book is coming out January 7. Next book is the third book of the When in Rome series. Okay, I'm gonna hold it here because it's raining outside and I'm not sure whether you can hear me. So the book is by Sarah Adams, of course, and it's called Beg, Borrow or Steal. I loved the first 2 books, When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect. So this third book has a lot to live up to. Okay, it's about 2 fielding second-grade teachers and neighbors who find themselves teaming up in this rivals to lovers romance. So the first book, it follows Noah Walker. Second book follows his younger sister Annie Walker, and then this last book is on his younger sister, the other younger sister, Emily Walker. Emily Walker hates having her carefully crafted world disrupted by anyone, most of all her legendary nemesis, Jack Bennett. He is the opposite of the wonderful heroes she dreams up in her double life as a romance writer, which is why Emily was perfectly happy when Jack left Rome, Kentucky mid-school year with his fiancée. The last thing Emily saw coming was Jack's return at the start of the summer after calling off the wedding and ending his relationship, but he's here to stay as a colleague and her neighbor. Oh, okay, then Jackson Bennett is back eager to renovate his house and work on the next mystery novel under his best-selling pen name, and then with their chemistry at an all-time high, Emily sends an email by accident to their school's principal that could reveal her secret literary side hustle. She needs to steal back her manuscript, and Jack, while she hates to admit it, is the man that she needs to help her. That's such an interesting plot, but okay, I'm so excited, and it's steamy. Yeah, coming out January 7 as well. Okay, next book coming out January 14 is Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. Alice Feeney, I previously read Rock, Paper, Scissors and gave I think 4 stars. So I'm anticipating this as well. Author Grady Green is having the worst best day of his life. Grady calls his wife to share some exciting news as she is driving home. He hears Abby slam on the brakes, get out of the car, and then nothing. When he eventually finds her car by the cliff edge, the headlights are on, the driver door is open, her phone is still there, but the wife is missing. And a year later, he is still overcome with grief and desperate to know what happened to Abby. So he travels to a tiny Scottish island to try to get his life back on track. And then he sees a woman who looks exactly like his missing wife. Next book, coming out January 14 as well, The Favourites by Lane Fargo. Okay, Lane Fargo is someone whose book I read They Never Learn and loved it so much. Yeah, I haven't read another book from her since, but this one has intrigued me. It's about figure skating. Katerina Shaw might not have a famous name, funding, or her family support, but she has always known that she was destined to become an Olympic skater. When she meets Heath Rocher, a lonely kid stuck in the foster care system, their instant connection makes them a formidable duo on the ice. They go from childhood sweethearts to champion ice dancers, captivating the world with their scorching chemistry until a shocking incident at the Olympic Games brings their partnership to a sudden end. As the 10-year anniversary of their final skate approaches, an unauthorized documentary reignites the public obsession with them, claiming to uncover the real story through interviews with their closest friends and fiercest rivals. Kat wants nothing to do with the documentary, but she can't stand the thought of someone else redefining her legacy either. So after a decade of silence, she's telling her story. It's a sports romance, but it also kind of reminds me of another thriller. But this is not a thriller, this is a romance. It reminds me of Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo also, because she's retelling her story of what happened, of her past, right? So that reminded me of this. Normally not something that I would want to go for, but because I was so taken aback by Lane Fargo's previous book, I still want to read this. Okay, next book, coming out January 28th, is Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. I read this author's Out on a Limb this year and I loved it so much. Like, out of nowhere, this book just completely took me by surprise and I really enjoyed it. And then I find out the author is publishing another book next year. And it's start of the year also, so like, love it for me, right? So this story is about high school sweethearts Sarah and Caleb Linwood, who have always had each other's back through all of life's up and downs for the past 17 years, but Sarah has begun to wonder who is she without her other half. When she decides to take on a project of her own, a fundraising gala in memoriam of her late mother, Sarah wants nothing more than to prove to herself and to everyone else that she doesn't need Caleb's help to succeed. Until the event fails and Caleb uninvitedly steps in to save the day. The rift that follows is unimaginable, and in a desperate attempt to fix what they fear is near breaking, Sarah and Caleb make the spontaneous decision to join a grueling hiking trip intended to guide couples through rough patches. Again, not something that I would normally want to read. Just from this plot alone, if it was by a different author, I probably wouldn't have picked it up, but because Hannah Bonham Young wrote about a pregnancy trope in the first book, and I wouldn't have read about it either, but I really liked it. So I trust this author so much that I'm willing to try this book. Coming out January 28th, The Crash by Frida McFadden. I read the author's book, The Boyfriend, this year. I thought it was quite nice, not bad. I think I gave it 3.75 or 4 stars. So it kind of convinced me to want to read more of the books by this author. And then The Crash is coming out next year. Again, this is about pregnancy, but not exactly. It's just kind of in the book. So our main character, Tegan, is 8 months pregnant. She is alone, desperately wants to put her crumbling life in the rearview mirror, so she hits the road, planning to stay with her brother until she can figure out her next move. But who knows, she ends up heading straight into a blizzard. So stranded in rural Maine with a dead car and a broken ankle, she is miraculously rescued by a couple who offers her a room in their warm cabin until the snow clears, or so she thought, because then she realized that something isn't quite right. She then starts to think that she is in grave danger. This kind of snowy, wintry settings with like those kind of feels in the background that something is going wrong, something's not right. Oh my god, it hits me so much. So very excited for this, as I am with all the other books. And now moving on to February. Okay, first book we're going to talk about coming out February 4th is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. And oh my gosh, Ali Hazelwood has written so many different romances in different settings. Like we have a paranormal romance, we have a STEM romance. I appreciate the attempts into writing different settings because previously she's been writing all STEM romances, but last year she wrote Bright, which was a paranormal romance, and then she also wrote Check and Mate, which was a YA romance that was about chess. And this one, it is about swimming. Scarlett Vandermeer is a junior at Stanford and a student athlete who specializes in platform diving. And she is concentrating on getting into med school and recovering from the injury that almost ended her career, and has no time for relationships. Swim captain, world champion, and all-around aquatics golden boy, Lucas thrives on discipline, and that's how he wins gold medals and breaks records. On the surface, the both of them have nothing in common until a well-guarded secret slips slips out and everything changes. So they enter into an arrangement with the pressure leading to the Olympics heating up. Their relationship heats up as well. Oh, they get into a fling with each other. I'm just very excited because it's about Olympic. This year it was the Olympics, and the fact that I get to read about Olympics romance next year is so, oh my god, I'm so excited. And it's Ali Hazel, like one of my favorite authors. So yeah, very much looking forward to this. Next is Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey. So actually this is part of a series called Big Shots. The first book is Fangirl Down, which I read and enjoyed. Second book, I don't think I want to read because it's called The All Pair Affair, and the ratings on it are not the best, and people are saying that it's not good. And from what I'm reading, I'm not super interested, but this one I am. It's about hockey. Professional hockey player Sig's car breaks down and his phone dies, such that he treks into a posh private country club to call a tow truck, where he encounters Chloe Clifford, the manic pixie dream girl who captivates him immediately with a sense of adventure and penchant for stealing champagne. They can't wait to see each other again, but then when Sig finally arrives to meet his dad's new girlfriend over dinner, Chloe is confusingly also there. She's not the girlfriend of the dad, don't worry, but the girlfriend is Chloe's mother. They are engaged, so they are technically step siblings. Oh my goodness. I don't know how they're gonna navigate this, man, but I still want to read it for the drama that unfolds. And Tessa Bailey has a way of writing steamy romances that I am liking. Have I mentioned it's coming out February 4th? Next book, also coming out February 4th, is All Better Now by Neil Shusterman. Yes, the Neil Shusterman who wrote the Scythe series that I love. Not so much for the last book, but the first two books I love. This is a young adult thriller. Oh my god, okay, this is very interesting. It's a dystopian novel, Neil Shusterman's genre. So basically there's a condition on the rise. It's like a virus. The first symptom is a fever, after which those who contract it experience long-term effects. After infection, people find that the stress, depression, greed, and other negative feelings that used to weigh them down are gone. And that's like a great thing for the world, right? Because all your worries are gone. But the people in power, those who sell things to people, they need unhappiness for people to tune in to their things, to find that sort of happiness, you know, to buy their products and things like that. So then they start to convince people with campaigns that being happy all the time is dangerous. And then they even developed a vaccine to rid people of their inner peace and get them back to normal. Wow, that is so, oh my goodness, I love the plot. I've never even contemplated this plot or I haven't heard about this plot before. I'm so excited. Yeah, February 4th, guys. Next book, coming out February 11, is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison, who is the author of Love Like Farms, which I loved, and then also wrote In the Weeds, which I didn't really love. This might be the tiebreaker. I might have just found one of the 5 books for the second half of the year, but that's gonna be for the second half. So this one, Aidan Valentine has a secret. He's fallen out of love with love. As the host of Baltimore's romance hotline, that's a problem. But when a young girl calls in asking for dating advice for her mom, the interview goes viral, thrusting Aidan and Heartstrings, which is the romance hotline I believe, into the limelight. Lucy Stone thought she was doing just fine, she has a good job, credible family, smart, slightly devious kid, but apparently not to the rest of the world because they all want her to find her happy ending. This kind of reminds me of The X Talk, which I read this year and really quite enjoyed. It's also about a radio station, about romance topics, and then also about main characters falling in love with each other through the radio station. So I expect no less from this, and I'm quite excited, as with the rest of the books. Okay, so this next book is The Rival by Emma Lord, and apparently when I first did my research and homework for this, it was supposed to come out 27 Feb, but now on Goodreads it says that it's coming out 21st Jan. So when is it really coming out? I don't really know, but it's either Jan or Feb. This book really reminds me of Emma Lott's other university romance book that she wrote called Begin Again, which I gave 5 stars to. But this one is about Sadie, who has had a lifelong academic rival, her next door neighbour, Seb. She thought she finally got rid of him after getting the only supposed spot to her dream college, until Seb is pulled off the waitlist miraculously and admitted. So it's like, hello, it's me again. She was like, okay, then she needs to compete with him again and everything like that. But then they soon discover that there are some flaws in the school's system, so they are forgetting their competition against each other and teaming up against the school now, and then sparks fly. Reminds me of Begin Again, so I have high hopes this will be as good. Okay, this next book I've already talked about in my 2024 anticipated releases video. Clearly it wasn't published because it's appearing again on my list. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. This author wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and this is kind of like a similar story to that. So it follows Sarah, who used to be one of the most powerful witches in Britain. Then she resurrected her great aunt Jasmine, who recently died, then lost most of her magic and befriended a semi-villainous talking fox and was exiled from her guild. Now she helps her aunt run an enchanted inn in Lancashire, where she deals with her quirky guests' shenanigans. Then she finds out about an old spell that could hold the key to restoring her power. Enter Luke Larson, handsome and icy magical historian who arrives on a dark winter evening and might just know how to unlock the spell's secrets. Luke has absolutely no interest in getting involved, but he somehow agrees to help Sarah anyway. Maybe a certain seduction was involved. So yeah, it sounds cozy. The plot sounds interesting enough to keep me engaged, because from what I learned this year, some cozy fantasies or romances really don't work with me, so I have to be a bit more mindful of what I'm reading. So I really hope that I like this one, because I really did like The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Apparently, when I first did research, it was supposed to come out in March or April, and now Goodreads is telling me 15 July 2025. I don't know when this book is coming out. I hope it'll come out next year. But yeah, now we are finally properly into April, because the previous books were kind of like left, right. I realized we kind of skipped March. Are there no books that are like coming out in March? Probably. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Abby Jimenez has written quite a few romances, all of which I have read. It's kind of like a mixed bag. For example, I really enjoyed Yours Truly and Happy Ever After Playlist, but I was quite mad about Just for the Summer, Part of Your World, and Life's Too Short. So who knows whether I'll enjoy this book, but I'll read it anyway, and I still anticipate it regardless. Our male main character is called Xavier Rush, a gorgeous veterinarian giving Greek god vibes, all while cuddling a tiny kitten. So he has the perfect image until he opens his stupid mouth and says the wrong things. Oh my god, this plot twist is like, oh my goodness, left, right, center. Somehow they get together for an incredible date, but then Samantha has to admit that her family is in crisis and any kind of relationship is impossible, and so she begs Xavier to forget her, to remember that night together as a perfect moment for the last time. But then obviously they can't forget about each other, then they obviously get back together. This plot is like but okay, it says that it's going to be deeply emotional, so I'm ready for the deep emotions and excited to read it on April 1st. My favourite author, one of them, Jessie Q Sutanto, is back with the second book in Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man. As I mentioned previously, right, I read Vera Wong in a video and I was saying that I found the magic that was written in the Dial A for Auntie series, the first book in particular, in the first book of Vera Wong. The rest of the Auntie series, I thought it went on a downward spiral, but I still have high hopes for this second book, and I hope that it will be good. Vera has been living a great life, but she has been bored until she comes across a distressed young woman who is obviously in need of a kindly guidance. The young woman is looking for a missing friend. Somehow, a file comes into Vera's hands about the death of an enigmatic influencer, who also happens to be the friend that the young woman was looking for. Vera is obviously very interested and determined to solve the murder. Coming out on April 1st, very excited. The next book, coming out April 22nd, is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, our next book by our residential favourite author. So far, out of all her books, right, I have loved this year's release, which was Funny Story. I gave it 4.75 stars. Will this book top it? I do not know, but we will find out together. Basically, our two main characters, male and female, are both writers, and they are competing for the chance to tell the story of this woman who is larger than life for their next big writing break. So they travelled to this balmy little crescent island, and they are supposed to prove themselves to Margaret Ives, who is the daughter of one of the most storied and scandalous families of the 20th century. In this 1 month, Margaret will determine who is the winner, but there's a catch. So basically, she's telling both of them different pieces of a story, but they can't swap stories because they both signed an NDA, which is like, okay, this woman is just playing both of them, right? But yeah, we'll find out what happens. And obviously, they're attracted to each other, and then sparks fly and things like that. 22nd April 2025. We're down to the last 5 books. This next one is by XEO, who has written XOXO and the book after that. I liked XOXO, not so much the sequel, but this one is a fantasy mythology young adult, which I'm like, okay, I'm all in for this. It's called The Floating World, coming out May 13, 2025. So we are in May. It's a romantic fantasy reimagining the Korean legend of celestial maidens. Our male main character, Sun Ho, lives in the underworld. He's an ex-soldier and he doesn't remember much of his life from before 2 years ago. Now he's like barely scraping by, and then he stumbles across this opportunity for a chest of coins for any mercenary who hunts down a girl who wields silver light. Then this girl who wields silver light is located far to the east. Our female main character, Ren, a cheerful and spirited acrobat, traveling with her adoptive family and performing at villages. So there was an instance where she was forced to wield the silver light, and then she is determined to save her uncle from some poison that he got from the incident. So she sets off over the mountains and crosses paths with Sun Ho, and then the two of them don't know the other's identity, but they slowly grow attracted to each other. And then it's like, oh my gosh, we cannot be together, that kind of thing. It's high fantasy, which I'm a bit worried about, but I'm intrigued nonetheless. Next book is What Happens in Amsterdam by Rachel Lynn Solomon, coming out May 6, 2025. Our main character, Danny Dorfman, has somehow made it to her 30s without knowing what she wants to do with her life. So when an office romance ends poorly and she gets fired, she applies for a job in Amsterdam, never imagining that she'll actually get it, because it's just like a pipe dream. But then she does. By the end of her first week in Amsterdam, she's never felt more alone. Then she crashes her bike into a high school ex-boyfriend, and suddenly life is blooming with new opportunities. Wouter was a Dutch exchange student Danny's family hosted, a forbidden love that ended in a painful breakup. Oh my god, they're in a marriage of convenience. Okay, Wouter needs to be married to inherit a gorgeous family home on a canal, and when Danny's job falls apart, she needs a visa. This has so many things that I like and don't like at the same time. So I like marriage of convenience, but I don't like second chance romance. I don't know where this will take me, but I hope that I like it. I'm excited though by the marriage of convenience thing. Oh my goodness. Next book, The Man Made of Smoke by Alex Knopf, coming out 13 May 2025. Dan's life has been haunted by the crime he witnessed as a child, narrowly escaping an encounter with a notorious serial killer. He has dedicated his life to becoming a criminal profiler, eager to seek justice for innocent victims. So when his father passes away under suspicious circumstances, he revisits his small island community, determined to uncover the truth about his death. I first read Alex Knopf's book, The Whisper Man, and it was so creepy and I loved it. So high hopes for this new book that's coming out. Second last book, The Love Haters by Catherine Center, coming out 20th May 2025. Catherine Center has written The Bodyguard, The Stranger, my favorite, the rom-comers. Very hard to top rom-comers for me, but we will find out. Katie has been burned by love in the past. Now she may be lighting her career on fire. Oh my god, I love this line. And she has two choices. Wait to get laid off from her job as a video producer, or at her co-worker Cole's request, take a career-making gig profiling Tom Hutchison, a Coast Guard rescue swimmer in Key West. The catch is that she's not exactly qualified because she can't swim, but she has to fake it that she can. And Cole is Hutch's brother. They don't get along. Oh my god. So basically she can't swim, but she needs to fake that she can swim. I would hate to be her. 20th May, excited. And the last book, definitely not the least, Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. Ashley Poston has written The 7-Year Slip and The Dead Romantics, both of which I have enjoyed. Also wrote Gigarella, which I have enjoyed. Novel Love Story, which I have yet to read. Bookish and the Beast also have yet to read. But of all the books that I read from this author, I have enjoyed. And this book, Sounds Like Love, is coming out 17 June 2025. Our main character, Johnny Luck, is one of the most coveted songwriters in LA, and she can't seem to write. I think she's experiencing the block. She returns to her hometown of Vienna Shores, North Carolina, and hopes that the sand, surf, and the concerts will spark her inspiration. But when she gets there, nothing is as she left it. Her best friend is avoiding her mother's memories are fading fast, and the revelry, the concert list, is closing. Then she runs into this man, of which both of them have a song that is haunting them both. Like it's half written, I think. So they're on a mission to finish that song, break their connection, and hope they don't risk their hearts in the process. It's a music-centered novel, which I'm excited for. Hopefully there is an audiobook. And yeah, with that, we have talked about all 20 books that I am excited for in 2025. As I mentioned, left 5 spots for the latter half, of which I've already found one. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found more releases that you didn't know about. And if you have any other releases that is not on this list that you are looking forward to, let me know down in the comments. And yeah, if you enjoyed, please give this video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel to see more of such content. I hope you're having a great day or a great week whenever or wherever you're watching. Remember to stay hydrated, and I'll see you in my next video, which is also probably an end of the year wrap up kind of style, which is like one of my favorite videos to make.